Is Belichick going to catch Shula? I never thought this was going to happen. I think he's going to catch Shula. He needs like 3 8-win seasons.
Yep.
It looks like he's well on his way to at least getting one of them. Although I think he's like 24 or something like that behind Don Shula, all-time victories. Wow. There was a time years ago when people would ask that question, is anybody ever going to break Don Shula's record? And I thought, no way, that nobody would be in the game long enough. But Belichick, he seems determined. I think even if he is deceased, he will retain through some kind of bizarre arrangement with Bob Kraft, who's inclined to get involved in bizarre arrangements, as evidenced by his visit to the Asian spa. But I would imagine he would be inclined to go ahead and, be in a condoning position of Belichick still coaching the team while deceased so that he could eclipse the Shula record. What would they count that, or does that get an asterisk if you're dead when you pass the record? Finally, there's a reason for an asterisk. All right, good morning, everybody. Good to be with you here.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
I still think it's a good question. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here, the Defo Show. Jeff DeForest and one Mike Lubitz here on South Florida Live. Happy to have you along for the ride. How you feeling today, Lubie? You all right? I mean, you look good. You look good, kid. I mean, the pressure seems to be a little bit alleviated from all of the transaction stuff. It only gets worse as you start to find things, my friend, as you start to find out that maybe the inspectors missed it, huh? That big crack in the roof there, that water that was seeping through on the wall. But hopefully everything will go well for you, and you'll have nothing but luck and happiness and harmonious bliss in the new home there with the lovely Shirley and however many little Lubies. What are you thinking on it? What's the over-under? 1 on a hook? 2? Yeah?
2. I don't want more than 2. That's a lot.
No more than 2. All right. Sounds good. All right. I'm hoping today we have a Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. I'm in touch here with Dave Gurggles Gergely. I don't know. I didn't get a response yet, I don't think. Maybe he's setting up as we speak. Okay. He's going to be with us 7:30 today. Dave Gurggles Gergely, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Now, yesterday, and there was a lot of trivia involved. Many things. I mean, I still enjoy watching postseason baseball. I've really enjoyed many, many moments of the postseason so far. You have the upset special there, the Cinderella story, the Philadelphia Phillies, and they're in the World Series. They're up 2-1 over the despised Houston Astros, although I don't hate the Astros the way everybody else does. And I because everybody's a Philly fan, I don't know. The contrarian in me is I found myself rooting for the Astros last night. I really did, Lubie. I'm probably the only guy in the country outside of whomever owns the team and maybe a couple of other people that actually would like to see the Astros win another championship. They've been so good for so long. The cheating, it's not like, you should just ignore it. I mean, it was despicable what they were doing. They're just absolutely ridiculous to rig up all this electronics and trying to have an unfair advantage at home over other teams. And, people caught on to it pretty quickly. I mean, why is Carlos Beltran banging on a garbage pail in the dugout? Right? Like he's backing up Santana or something. I mean, we're talking Carlos, not Rafael. It's so silly sometimes when you look at it because these guys are so good. Does Tom Brady really need to deflate footballs to win games? Probably not. Did it help him? Did Bill Belichick really need to be taking film of the other team's practice? He hasn't seen virtually everything that somebody's going to throw at him in his 70 years of coaching. What could possibly be new that they were doing? And what new wrinkles are teams working on in practice? Trick plays? I mean, what is it that they're doing? Blocking schemes? I don't know. I guess you could gain something from it. But they have all the film in the world of the team in action. So I don't know. I mean, what are you really going to gain by filming a practice? I always found that kind of weird. But did they really need to cheat? Now cheating has become very much in focus. In sports, you had those guys that put the lead weights in the bass fishing contest. That was kind of clever. I'm surprised, actually, that either hasn't been discovered before or been done before over a long period of time, right? What would stop you, right? You shovel a 2-pound weight in there. Guess what? That 8-pound bass looks pretty big there, 10 pounds. Crazy. You had the chess guy cheating. He had the computer thing in his head there making moves like he was Boris Spassky. And, he was defeating everybody. And, people knew about it, and they didn't even care. It's unbelievable, right? Why not just play against a computer to begin with? Then they would have had to give the computer whatever the prize money was, but ended up in disgrace. Not a fan of it. I don't know. I mean, I had a call that was questioned by Dr. Jerry the other night in our Alzheimer's Cup tennis match. And I hate to rob the guy on a call. No, I don't question calls, with the kind of audacity that some people do when I'm playing a game at this stage of my life. I just, you know what? I'll watch a ball hit right in the middle of the box. Guy calls it out, and I'm like, okay. What do I got? Second serve coming? All right, fine. What are you going to do? You're not out there trying to cheat your friends to win. I don't think. Now, a lot more money is at stake in professional sports, but the refs are bad enough. I don't know. I mean, cheating. I don't even know if it helps you, right? Because it's sort of arbitrary whether you get a good shake in a ball game anyway. And these games are always just absolutely, tight as a drum. As most games end up in the NFL. I mean, you're having almost every game ends up within the so-called, and I hate this terminology, one score.
Why do you hate it though? I actually say I'll find myself saying the 2-score thing. Why do you hate it? It's just because it's some.
I don't like it because is it one score? Is it one field goal? Is it one touchdown? Is it a touchdown and an extra point? Is it a touchdown and a 2-point conversion? I mean, okay, so you have to score once, but you usually have to do something else on top of that, unless you're talking about a field goal. So, I mean, if it's a 3-point game, then it's a one-score game. I guess if it's 7, you could say the same thing, although it's no longer as automatic. The extra point as it used to be when they used to kick from the 10-yard line, right? So what was the guy making, like a 27-yard field goal?
Like the 2. It used to be, wasn't it?
Oh, from the 2, yeah. It was a 20-yard field goal.
20-yarder or something?
Now, with a penalty or two, you got the guy kicking from midfield.
There was a 48-yarder the other day. Yep.
Still should have been made, no? You were assuming almost anything inside of 50 is going to be made by these kickers that they have out there in the NFL today, which all of the good kickers are in the NFL, as the professors pointed out, because in college it's a very shaky proposition. But anyway, I still had, and there wasn't much else on in terms of competition. You had the Heat playing the Sacramento Kings. Kings had won a couple in a row after an 0-4 start. The Heat had just come off a win over the Golden State Warriors in a real nip-and-tuck battle that came down to the wire there, and the Heat pulled away in the end. And that was a big game for them because they were 2-5. They went to 3-5. They had the Kings on the horizon. Kings played an even better game against the Miami Heat. They didn't have Jimmy Butler, something of significance, no question, because Butler was dynamite and was the main catalyst in the Heat being able to knock off the Golden State Warriors. But that one went back and forth. And you know what I loved about that game? The best part about that game, never mind Tyler Hero hitting a shot with 1.8 seconds to go, a three-pointer to ice the ball game for the Miami Heat, who were in that was a dogfight all the way through. It was close every second of the way. There was a brief period of time where Sacramento looked like they might pull away. The Heat, I don't know what their biggest lead was, but it couldn't have been much. And at best, I think Sacramento had like a 5 or 7-point lead at one point in the third quarter. But that quickly dissipated. The Heat came right back in there, and it went back and forth. I think I heard Eric Reed say some ridiculous number of lead changes, like 26, 27 lead changes in the game. I mean, right through the whole contest, it was back and forth stuff. And you're thinking, when is Sacramento going to be good? I mean, you talk about a team that's been going through the process. They've been drafting 1, 2, 3 for the last 30 years, have they not?
Yeah, since the Weber Baby team. So, 20 years? It's been a long time.
What the fuck is going on there? I mean, honestly. How can a team be perpetually that bad? It's amazing. Almost impossible, right? So now they made a deal. They got the guy from Atlanta, Kevin Herter, who was a pretty competent three-point shooter, a reasonably clutch player when he was with the Atlanta Hawks. And he's starring now for the Sacramento Kings. He's playing very well. Malik Monk. There's a Malik Monk sighting. Still has some game after looking like he was on the all Dolly Parton team. Going to be one of the bigger busts in NBA history. Not a bad player, but didn't really offer that much in the way of what you would call quality opposition for a Miami Heat team that probably will win its division easily. And in all likelihood, will remain a factor deep into the postseason as long as they can get it together under Spoelstra. He wasn't going to let them just die on the vine there. But they do get a big victory last night. But the best part of the game was a Matthew Dellavedova sighting, Lubie.
What?
Dellavedova is still in the league. How long has this guy been around?
Oh, my God.
I think he broke in with Kuzi, didn't he? Was he covering Kuzi? I think he had a couple of blocks on Hal Greer when Greer was with the 76ers. Matthew Dellavedova will always be special for us because we asked Brandon Knight, who was a local kid that had what looked like it was going to be a very, very promising career. He made himself. I don't even know if that's a lot of money anymore, right? Now guys get $60 million in one season. He signed like a 5-year, $60 million deal at some point, and everybody was like, "Wow, can you believe that?" And he had been with the Suns and then with the Milwaukee Bucks, and then kind of floated around. Is Brandon Knight still in the league?
I don't
Mike
think
Lubie
so.
Lubitz?
He's on a roster somewhere, but he doesn't play at all. He signed a deal with the Pistons, I think. Was it the Pistons? And it looked like he was a borderline all-star that one year, and was it with the Bucks where he was a borderline all-star, and then he got hurt, and then hit with his knee, and he never was the same ever. Like, it sucked.
Yeah, it's unfortunate. And you hold a distinction of having a one-on-one victory, however questionable and marginal it might have been. A one-on-one victory over Brandon Knight. You have a one-on-one win over an NBA player.
I mean, he was on his phone the whole time, like literally.
It doesn't matter that he was shooting left-handed from 30 feet and he was on his cell phone talking to Kobe Bryant while you were playing. And you're running around. You come back schwitzing. Your shirt is soaked, sweat dripping off every pore. And Brandon Knight looked like, he was out having a cup of coffee and a sandwich. And he said, he beat me 11-9. But he had spotted you 9, I think.
Spotted me. I think we were playing
and your baskets counted as 2 points, and his only as 1. I think
7, and he spotted me like 5.
Yeah,
and I was defending him relentlessly, and he wasn't even barely looking at the hoop, and then he would just leave me open.
It's a legitimate win, no matter how you factor in the rules, which were unique for that particular contest. But you have a win over an NBA player, Mike Lubie Lubitz. I was proud of you, man. I never thought that I didn't think you would score a point. I figured whatever you did, you'd be so nervous that every ball would go flying right over the hoop. And this was contested in kind of a warehouse, which had a legitimate basket. I mean, the rest of the considerations were right on the money with NBA, prototype kind of rules. But anyway, good kid. And I remember we asked him if he had a choice of taking Lubie or Matthew Dellavedova or something like that. And he actually, you'll never hear an NBA player, kind of trash another guy unless you're watching All That Smoke or whatever with Matt Barnes and Steven Jackson. Does Steven Jackson ever say anything on that show? I don't think he does. Have you ever seen that on Showtime?
I've seen bits of it, but I didn't even know Steven Jackson was on it. It's always Matt Barnes talking.
It's actually good. You know what? I have to give Matt Barnes credit as a guy that was known as like a complete jerk-off while he was playing basketball for the most part. He wasn't in the Kyrie Irving category, but was always, getting involved in melees. And remember, he punched out Doc Rivers, didn't he?
Yes.
At a party.
Yes.
Not the most temperate of individuals, and usually was a guy that was getting challenged or in a fight or whenever there was a shoving match under the basket, there was Matt Barnes involved. But as a media guy, I think he's very good. I really do. A casual style. He does he tones it down for ESPN. And I was watching one of their shows. I've seen many of them, but he had like Snoop Dogg on the other night. It was a replay of a show I guess they had done that was the best of. But I have to say, I mean, it was a well-conducted, Snoop Dogg did most of the talking there, but it was interesting. He's had Jeannie Buss on. They've had a lot of different people on, over the years and or a couple of years that they've been doing it. And it's a good show, very, very representative show. But, it was interesting, though, to see that Dellavedova in a game and then talk about NBA action, which I haven't really kind of embraced it yet. I mean, I know a couple of things are happening that are interesting. Milwaukee's 7-0 to start the season. The Greek has already locked up the MVP. The Lakers started out 0-5. I think they're 2-5 now, as they've won a couple of ball games, which you weren't sure they were going to get a win this year with LeBron James on their team and Anthony Davis. And what on earth happened to Russell Westbrook? How did that go so haywire? That's kind of crazy. But then another game followed the Heat game. I guess on ESPN they might have been having a doubleheader. They also featured Boston and Cleveland last night, and Cleveland, one of the surprise teams. It was very surprising they got Donovan Mitchell. Mitchell was brilliant last night in the clutch in the fourth quarter with like 2 minutes to go. He had a series of shots that were impossible, made them all. They ended up in overtime, and then Mitchell was a factor there as well. And the Cleveland Cavaliers beat the Boston Celtics with Jason Tatum. I don't know, is Tatum ever going to win an MVP? He had a monster play or two in that game. I mean, he's been fantastic this year. But the Cleveland Cavaliers, all of a sudden, an interesting story in the NBA as they move to 6-1. One game behind in the East, the Milwaukee Bucks. Not bad at all. But that Donovan Mitchell was spectacular in the clutch last night. That was one of those things. I remember you were saying he wouldn't help the Knicks. This guy would help any team that he was on.
I said he would help them. I said the same thing about the Cavs. I just didn't think he'd make them a actual contender. Like I think they'd be a 7th or 8th seed, and I think the Cavs will be a 6th to 8th seed. And I still think that. Like you're seeing a lot of the really good teams struggle right now.
They got that kid Darius Garland, man. He had a good game.
Garland's legit, Mobley's legit, Mitchell's good, and then the rest of it's in. I mean, like that's not going to beat the Celtics. That's not going to beat the Bucks. That's not going to beat when the Heat get their stuff together. That's not going to beat the Heat. Like that's my thing. Like they have enough to be relevant, and the Knicks would have been the same. The Knicks, whatever Julian Love is a tout, no one cares about the Knicks. So Mitchell would have made them relevant, but like they weren't going to win a title. That was my thing, to give up the haul that Utah wanted.
Yeah,
you should be a championship contender, and it's a nice story. It's like the Bulls last year. Like the Bulls were great for a half, and it's fun. Okay, we'll see what happens in the second half when teams take it really seriously.
All right. Well, that was just a little NBA aside.
I know.
All right. So that was all going on while the baseball game was happening. Now, did you see what happened, Lubie? It was a combined no-hitter.
I heard, which is very interesting. Like, how often does that happen?
Very interesting indeed, because, I mean, everybody was touting the Phillies. They'd hit 5 home runs in the previous game and won the game easily, 7-0. And the Houston Bats were surprisingly silent, a very consistent offensive team, the Houston Astros, and they had gone about 14 or 15 innings straight without scoring a run until they busted loose. I think it was in the 5th inning where they busted loose for 5 runs. I guess it was the 5th inning, and they put together a rally against Aaron Nola, and then series. I think one guy came in from the Philadelphia bullpen, and he allowed most of the runs to score, although it wasn't like he got hammered or anything. He just came in, inherited a bases-loaded situation. I guess he was ineffective because he also tacked on a couple of more runners that he didn't inherit. But all of those guys scored, and the Astros had enough ammunition to win the game. You figure they were probably going to, hold them off. But this pitcher, Christian Javier, wow, what was he? Lights out. So he goes 6, and this is fascinating. Phil Mushnick, of course, one of my favorites, an old school guy, is always defending old school positions. Now, is this not typical of the modern day, though? Where, I mean, if Red Shadings came out there and told Bob Gibson, hey, I got to take you out, man. You're throwing 112 pitches. You're not going to finish the game. Well, he has a no-hitter going in the World Series. Only happened one time in history. Halladay had a no-hitter, but it was in one of the divisional or the championship series for the Philadelphia Phillies in 2000. What was that? 2008, 2010. One of those. It was 12, 13, 14 years ago. Roy Halladay, and that's great, but. And that was one guy going a distance, and he pitched a no-hitter. Don Larson had the only no-hitter, also a perfect game, a perfecto, in 1956, Game 5 with the New York Yankees.
Holiday 2010. Good job by you.
2010, okay. So, I mean, look at me, Mr. Baseball here. I sound like Joe Garagiola, man. Buy a car, get a check. Remember that?
No.
Well, that's something you're most famous for is a commercialized line. Buy a car, get a check. He was endorsing Dodge. The only other thing Garagiola talked about was the signs. And I mentioned Mushnick because it occurred to me that he's been complaining. Now, there aren't many announcers that he endorses. He likes it simple. He doesn't like the schlubbering. I mean, he doesn't like the Jessica Mendoza, where every pitch is in need of in-depth analysis. It's kind of like what's happening in football now where guy runs for 2 yards. Basically, 2 fat guys collide. Guy falls forward. He gets 2 yards, and they make it sound like it was the most fascinating militaristic strategy that you've seen since Norman Schwarzkopf was rolling the cars into the desert. Right? And you're like, oh, no. What I saw there was like a really dumb play call that was designed to go nowhere, and a guy fell forward for 2 yards, and that's it. And I'll talk about how, this is key to the game because, you got to establish a run. It's like, a guy hasn't landed a punch for 6 rounds in a fight. And then finally he lands one body shot, and the announcer feels compelled to go, that's going to pay dividends later on. He's putting those body shots in the bank. It's like, what? That's the first punch he landed in a fight. I mean, it wasn't like it was all that spectacular. But that's the tendency now, where every thing has to be like the greatest play that you've ever seen. Mushnick has been complaining for years about John Smoltz. Have you been catching any John Smoltz?
I always liked him, so I don't know. What is Mushnick's complaint about Smoltz? He overdoes it too.
He makes every pitch. I mean, after every pitch, he has like a 40-minute soliloquy about how important this pitch was and its various consequences and elements of significance that the guy threw. I mean, you're watching a guy threw a lousy curveball. He yanks it outside. It goes in the dirt. And he goes, well, you know what? That's a perfect setup pitch. Ba, 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 ba. And every pitch, I mean, and he's concentrating. It's kind of like Garagiola concentrated on the science for some reason because he was a catcher. Smoltz, almost exclusively talks about what's inside the head of the pitcher, but he doesn't do it in McEnroe fashion. And I think in certain doses it would be interesting, but I have to agree with Mushnick. Enough already, John. All right, I don't need to analyze, the spin rotation and the speed measurement versus like some, meteor that fell out of the sky. It just it's a baseball game for God's sake. As they say, let it breathe once in a while. It's okay just to say nothing. It really is. Not every pitch is of enormous significance. Even though in the playoffs, obviously everything is amplified. Every play is much more meaningful. A guy gets on base, and it's true. All of a sudden, you're thinking you're watching a rally, whereas in the regular season, they could load the bases with nobody out, and you're thinking, the guy will get out of that, man. Maybe they'll get a double play ball, get out of it with one run. So, and the no hitter though was fascinating because this guy Christian Javier, he was untouchable. Now you could see in the pitch count he got through the sixth inning and he was still cruising. I mean, nobody was doing anything against the guy. He'd walked two guys, he'd struck out like 9 people already, and through 5 innings. Didn't get any strikeouts in the sixth. Showed no signs of wear and tear or tiring. He oddly had another combined no-hitter for the Astros earlier this year against the New York Yankees, where they went to the bullpen. I believe he went 6 in that game also. And they brought in their 3 guys out of, the cookie-cutter managing routine where they got a pitcher for the 7th, for the 8th, and for the 9th, and they went right through that. And they ended up with a no-hitter against the Yankees. I believe that was in June. So unusually, I mean, here we go in a World Series. Now, what do? Do you take a guy out? Can you imagine if you had like Sparky Anderson come out to the mound and tell like Mickey Lolich or Denny McLain in the World Series, I got to take you out, man. These were guys who were uncorking 150 pitches before they went out. Shane Dean's going out to Bob Gibson and saying, "Hey, Bobby, look, I know you can hit, but I got to take you out of here, man. You've already thrown like 112 balls."
They were up 5-0.
Well, I can. It's funny because as an old fool, that used to watch these 4-man rotations, and guys had like 12 complete games, by the All-Star break. Now you never see complete games, but if you were going to do an extrapolation there, the guy Javier had thrown about 95 pitches, and he was through the 6th inning. So even if he throws 3 10-pitch innings to get out, of the 9th with a no-hitter, you're still looking at a guy throwing 126 pitches in a game. They just don't do that anymore. So, you're thinking if he's not going to be able to complete the game anyway, what's the point of sending him out there beyond the point or the juncture in the game where you wanted to lift him regardless of what was going on? So it was a pitch count thing. I'm not a huge believer in it, but I can understand it. And we're seeing where pitchers are far more fragile than they used to be. Maybe it's because they consistently throw the ball harder. I don't know. I mean, you didn't have everybody throwing the ball 100 miles an hour back in the day also. But what do you do? I mean, do you throw him out there for the 7th, hope he gets like a 5-pitch inning and maybe has something left to go out for the 8th?
Look, having the 5 runs, the game's not in that much of the balance. And they have a good bull. Look, it didn't backfire like the Rays a couple years ago. So in the end, it's not probably a talking point. But for me, who's in the middle of old school, like a no-hitter is a big deal. A combined no-hitter is stupid. Like no one cares about a combined no-hitter. But a no-hitter in the World Series,
World Series, second time in 108 years. It's only the second time it's ever happened.
Series, I don't know. Like, what are you saving him? Sorry, it says Game 7. I thought the rotation's great. Like, isn't Verlander, like, he's not their ace?
Verlander, surprisingly, has an awful record in World Series play.
I know.
I think he's 0-6 with, like, enormous, ERA in the 6 range. Yeah.
He's bad with the Tigers, and he's been bad with the Astros. I don't know. It's just, to me, baseball is so falling off. Like, to me, this is where baseball falls short. Like, these are the moments where you you just say screw it. You know,
If he wasn't going to be able to complete the game, though, just in a logical pattern of pitching, then what would be the point of throwing him out there for even one more inning than you were looking for?
well, that's why they took
Just
him out.
because he had the no hitter. I mean, if he was only going to get through the seventh, you were going to have to call on your bullpen anyway to finish the game.
But if he's cruising, you can have a 15 pitch inning. So why can't he throw 100? Like, what happens if he throws 140 pitches? Does everything explode? That's what I don't get.
His arm falls off, man.
If he's pitching, fine. Look, when there's a runner gets on or a guy gets a second, fine. But like if he's cruising, like that's just those are the special. Like,
do you have to leave him in there to see if he gives up a hit?
I may have turned to the fucking game. I'm not gonna lie to you. If I saw. Like I never saw the no hitter bottom line because they knew, like you're saying, he wasn't going to get it. They knew no way he's going to get the no hitter. But if I see a no hitter in the World Series and I haven't watched a minute of play of baseball, I bet you I turn to it and watch. And
it was historic. I mean, surprising to me, even though it was the opposition. And the Philly fans had to be disgusted, and they're very volatile, and obviously. Highly partial to the Philadelphia Phillies, and everybody hates the Astros. I mean, you could just put PHUCK the Astros. Fuck them, man. Everybody's on the Phillies. And, even still, it's funny, even though they got no hit last night, if they win tonight, they find themselves in a very favorable position. Even going back to Houston, they'd only have to win one of two, which they've already done, and they win a World Series as an 87-win team. It's still a Cinderella story in the making. It was such an interesting departure from what was going on, and the entire – I don't know, this was another thing that these announcers were obsessed with, the narrative, and then Smoltz never stopped talking about stress on a pitcher. That was the other thing. I mean, I wanted to grab a couple of Mushnick columns and just circle a few things because he had me going crazy there. I think, Phil, you were right about this Smoltzy, who seems like a very likable guy, competent. I don't know why he, just dives, so seriously into, everything about the pitcher. Obviously, he was a pitcher, but you would think you'd get more diversity out of the color analyst than to just, talk about. It was McCarver-esque, wasn't it, when he used to analyze the consistency of the dirt behind home plate after a guy had fouled off a bunt, and you go, well, it's not conducive to really getting, listen, the guy missed a bunt. That's all you really needed to say. But it was still exciting. I saw some Philly fans with 2 outs in the ninth, right? 2 outs in the ninth. Now it's baseball, so the game isn't over, as Yogi would say, until it's over, Lubie. No time clock. There could be 2 away in the ninth. You get a walk. Guy gets hit by a pitch. Next guy, lines a double to left. You never know. I mean, just never know. But with 2 outs and an historic moment, it's happened only one time in 108 years of World Series play. And I'm looking at a couple of Philly fans that had seats, obviously very prime seats down there by the home plate area in the front rows. And they're leaving the game to beat the traffic.
Oh, you have to finish the world. Are you kidding? So and I'm bad. Look, I'm the guy, but I only left because my team was down by 5 with 30 seconds in an NBA game, and mathematically the game should be over. Like I didn't know the Spurs would totally shit the bed in historic fashion. Like it's a no-hitter in the World Series.
No hitter in the World Series, and you're walking out, man. With 2 outs. I mean, like if you left before the ninth, you were like, hey, you were disgusted. Your team's getting no hit. I understand that. Okay. And, it was 11:30 at night on the East Coast by the time this game ended. Another 3.5-hour gem, even with no hits.
Yeah, exactly.
Can you imagine? It still took 3.5 hours to play this ball. I enjoyed it. I mean, as a longtime baseball fan, to see history like that. I was just talking with Mr. Met, is the ultimate baseball historian. I mean, goes all the way back. As soon as I bring up anything, he starts talking about the Brooklyn Dodgers, and how he despises them still to this day. It's like, Ira, get over it, man. That was like 1956, for God's sake. But and that was the perfect thing, 1956, the last time. So imagine that. It was 66 years since this had happened. And I thought it was great. I really enjoyed it. The other 3 pitchers that came in, the first guy, Abreu, was untouchable. Montero almost gave up a hit. There's always one threatening shot, at least, or somebody makes a great play. This wasn't necessarily a great play, but one of the Phillies hitters just whacked a line drive into right field, and it happened to be right at the right fielder. And then Ryan Presley is their closer. He walked a guy and got the rest of them. And so they had their no-hitter. So 2-2 in the World Series going into, what would you say, Lubie? A pivotal Game 5 tonight? Pivotal. That one was pivotal also because if you go down 3-1, as was game 2. I mean, that was pivotal. You don't want to go down 0-2 if you're the Astros. You want to be up 2-0. And game 1, of course, pivotal, as you want to get off to the good start there and guarantee yourself the split on the road. Pivotal. Every game, pivotal. So tonight would be pivotal. And the statistics do indicate that game 3 of a 1-1 series, pivotal. There's a team that wins game 3, wins a series about 70% of the time. And I would imagine his stat is even fatter on that one in pivotal game 5.
The game 5, I think it's like 80 something. It's like some stupid number. You win game 5, 0-3-2.
So there it is. I mean, the platform is set for a lot of drama tonight.
Yes.
I don't know. What would you figure? A slugfest tonight?
Both teams have dominated the last 2 games, so you would hope that you're going to see some actual, outside of the guy getting pulled, controversy and combatants. Like, it's a weird world.
Yeah, nobody bunts anymore either, man. Pena came up. He's been okay, but very vulnerable to the outside curveball in the dirt. And been a terrific player, the rookie shortstop for the Houston Astros. Was a huge catalyst in their success leading up to the series. He hasn't been overwhelming in the series, but he's had some clutch hits. And he comes up first and second, nobody out in the 5th inning. And you're thinking the natural move is to bunt these guys over to second and third, no? I mean, it looks like your pitcher is in full command of the game, and it's going to be tough. They weren't getting to Aaron Nola, even though he had shown a little bit more vulnerability. And so, you're thinking 1 run is big and 2 runs huge here. If you set the stage for one of your big hitters now, they had 3, 4, and 5 coming up. So they were in good shape there if they have second and third. The guy did attempt 1 bunt, missed it badly, and then whacked a base hit. So it turned out even better for him because they ended up with the bases loaded and nobody out. And they managed to, bring home all of those runs plus 2 more. So 2-2 in the World Series, but a no-hitter. First time in 66 years, second time in baseball history. And you're shrugging your shoulders, but is that not typical of the kind of no-hitter you would see today? Where a guy goes 6 and then you bring in 3 more guys. Another Mushnick, faux pas that, he can't stand where, managers manage the same way every game, regardless of situation. So, I don't know. Christian Javier didn't seem all that upset that he was pulled from the game. He seemed to anticipate it. All right, we have the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge coming up. Dave Gurggles Gergely is going to join us. Can we bring Gurgs into the program here? Because I know he probably put 1,000 on the Philadelphia Phillies before the playoffs at 35-1. Knowing Gurgs. Gurgs, how are you, my friend?
Doing well. I watched the game last night, and a couple of points. I understand those Phillies fans leaving with 2 outs in a no-hitter because it's kind of like a superstition there that, well, maybe if I leave, it'll be broken up, and maybe they'll come back and win. But,
right.
They're not – the Cardinal fans would stay because they're true fans. Philly fans are loyal to Philly only. And as far as Jim Sarney's comments, I read them on the side. I couldn't agree with him more. If that important – the winning the World Series is important, not the individual accolade of that guy going 9 innings and pitching a no-hitter, because that guy's going to be your Game 7 starter if it goes that way, because he dominated the Phillies.
Well, and he's been brilliant throughout the playoffs so far. And, of course you would want to have him maybe for Game 7. Normally I would have been like appalled by that move. I mean, when Kevin Cash took Blake Snell out. It wasn't a no-hitter, but he was cruising along, and he finally gave up like a bloop single, and he took him out of the game, and it probably cost the Rays any chance they had of winning the World Series that year, a couple of years ago. I was like, how stupid is that, right? I mean, you're screaming at the television set, as was the rest of the baseball world and everybody else, even a casual fan, thinking, what a bozo move that is. Here, though, I don't know. It didn't bother me that much because I was looking at the pitch count. He was in the 90s in the 6th inning. I think he finished like 94, 5 or 6 in terms of pitch count. So you're thinking, well, geez, even if he has like 3 pretty easy cruising innings of 10 pitches apiece, he's probably not going to last 130 pitches in a game. So you'd been taking him out maybe after the 8th inning anyway because his arm was about to fall off. So I didn't mind the move. I really didn't. And I was rooting for baseball history. As a trivia buff, obviously, you're seeing something that had only happened once in 108 years. I thought it was great and very typical of what the modern day no-hitter might look like. But can you imagine? I mean, if Gibson's on the mound there and Red Schoendienst comes out, McCarver, comes out there and they say, listen, Bobby, we're going to take the ball. We're going to give it to Bobby Shantz here. And
No
you're
way.
like, what?
Wait,
No, that wouldn't happen. No,
In the face.
no. But I mean, it's a whole different ballgame now. And Dusty Baker, he's been looking for his first World Series
Yeah.
win, and
Yeah.
he had to agree that the game is more important than the individual, and that's just what it came down to. So when he did it, I thought it was the right thing to do. Although, especially since the Phillies came back from 5-0 the other day, so take them out, bring in some more folks, get the victory, and move on.
Yeah, not too many people were really, up in arms about. I mean, I saw some commentary, some of the articles I was reading that allow comments, and people were, you got to leave the guy in there, at least let him
At
take a
least
shot
try
at it.
7. I mean, whatever.
Yeah, Lubie's on that side. He's old school.
I think at least let him try it. Look, he's going to lose a no hitter because it's a no hitter in the World Series. Like these are everyone.
The key is the name is World Series. You want to win the World Series. If this is a team going 40 and 97 and it's in September, yeah, maybe let them go. But the World Series, you want to win the game. You don't care about the individual accolades.
Guy in second's not losing you a game. It's the 7th inning, 5 runs. The other game they gave up the lead, it was the 4th inning. Like it's a different game. They were cruising at this point. Like to me, that's why
What's the difference between the 4th and the 7th? It's no big deal.
Anything can happen.
Besides, I have a Don Larson autographed jersey, so that.
Do you really?
Yeah. That's worth. Oh yeah.
Was he on one of those baseball cruises or something before he checked out, Don Larson?
No. But in a little transition, 1999, you weren't able to do the NFL cruise, and you let me do it graciously, and I appreciate that. And yesterday, I did a Beat the Broadcaster for a tournament, and it was hosted by Zach Crockett, who was on that 1999 cruise.
Wow.
It was fun seeing him. Yeah.
That was that far back, that stuff? That was a nice little gig.
Yeah, 99. Yeah. Wow.
They gave you fairly nice accommodations, treated you like a champ.
Oh, that was great.
A little bit of capital. Yep. I mean, and you were cruising on what would have been like probably, a dime or so for anybody at the time. And absolutely free of charge. And meeting great people, man. I mean, you made long-term friends with Sam Jones. That was great.
Yeah. And Sam Jones on that NBA cruise, the last day, you remember when you hosted them, they were in a big hall and people lined up outside the deck for autographs. Sam Jones got out of his seat and walked outside on the deck and signed for people while they were waiting in line. That's the kind of guy he was. Yeah.
No, great guy. I mean, the highlight of and my most vivid memory of those cruises, which I did 3 or 4 of them, but it was Bill Romanowski almost tipping over the roulette table because he got pissed off, and I don't know how many steroids he was on at the time, but he got pissed off that the guy did that little wave when they say no more bets.
Yeah.
As the ball was just about to drop into the number that he was about to put a stack on. And he was not happy about that. His wife really had to calm him down. They're still together, too, because I wouldn't have thought that. I would have given you no chance that the Romanowskis would still be together. And we see them, and they're in perfect harmonious bliss. Every year, they look like they just came off an episode of The Bachelor, man. It's unbelievable.
And I got one of the highlights for me was Rich Gannon, who was then the quarterback. I'm not sure if he was the Raiders then or whatever. And he was preaching to the little kids about believing in the Lord and have faith in Jesus Christ. And then I see him in the casino, and he busts in blackjack. He says, "God damn it, I hate this game." So that's a little hypocritical.
I remember the infant stages of Mike Golick's broadcasting career flourishing during one of those cruises also, who then went on, obviously, to great fame with the Mike and Mike show. All right, the Trivia Challenge, how you feeling about World Series stuff? Anything? I mean, is Don Larson going to be one of the answers today?
No, and it won't be Dale Long either, the guy that he struck out.
Yeah.
No, believe it or not, World Series and also Breeders' Cup.
Oh, nice.
We got that coming up. Yes.
How you feeling about the Cup? Do you have anything, Gurggles?
I got a couple Perdomos I'll give out today.
Now, let me ask you this. Is there a pick 5 on the 5 races tomorrow?
Oh, I'm sure there is on some of them. I'm sure there is.
You only have the 5 Breeders' Cup races tomorrow. I guess they'll probably put 5 other races on the card that will start the card out there at Keeneland, which
yes,
I'm finding many people that I know are gravitating towards Lexington and going to be on hand for this thing. So and that's absolutely phenomenal. But I would imagine they have a pick 5 on the 5 Breeders' Cup races. Which is there anything that stands out there?
I'm going to give out horses on 3 of those 5 races, the 3 turf races. I'll give out some horses today.
And you and the king of the grass, man. I mean, nobody better on the weeds than Dave. Is that why you're wearing the green shirt, or is there a...
Well, it could
uniform
be.
requirement.
Yeah.
Either that or you're hosting the Masters competition later on. All right. Dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. A great day to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. And any day is a great day to be in Hialeah Park. And I would imagine that might be part of your social itinerary if you get a chance over the weekend to start plunging. What do you think, champions?
No doubt about it. Tomorrow I'll be at Doral for an event at 1 o'clock. So from Miami Lakes to Doral, there's almost a straight shot right past Hialeah Park.
Can you get out of there by 3?
1 o'clock post. Well, no, it's a 1 o'clock. No, I'm going to do it the other way. I'm going to bet ahead.
Oh, okay.
And then go do the Beat the Broadcaster at Doral, come back, and then just look what I got to cash, hopefully.
Nice.
But yeah, it's a great stop, and I can get there, bet the races. I can get Saturday's form early at Hialeah Park as well, and enjoy the ambiance. Get there quick, make my bets, go do Beat the Broadcaster, and then stop at Hialeah Park on the way back. Why not?
You love that little machine that spits out the replica of the form, but you only have to buy like one track.
Yes. Yeah. If you just want one track, maybe that's not. Maybe Delaware Park's not in the form, and I want to play Delaware. Put in $2, and you got it. It's exactly like the form.
Right, and you don't have to buy Mahoning Valley and all of this other garbage for the $12, which I don't know. It used to kill me having. I mean, for many years, obviously, I've been going to sporting events for free for most of my life. But when you had to pay the $2 to get into the clubhouse, maybe you were out of town and you didn't know the guy or whatever. Always killed me to be down like, between the admission fee and the parking and the racing form and the scratch sheet and all of this stuff. You were down like $16 before you started. When that meant something, when you could get more than like one item at the grocery store for $16. And, it just, I never liked that, right? So the $12 for the form is now the only prohibitive frontal cost there before you start plunging with your own money. And then, you got to throw the guy a couple of bucks. So that's a nice little feature there where you can only buy like one track. And
absolutely. And it's a great place. You got your own little desktop there with your own TV, your own volume, and then all the big 60-inch ones in front of you so you can watch all the action. Because sometimes on Breeders' Cup, I like to watch the NBC broadcast, hear some of the or USA Network, it'll be today. And then you can bet the races and watch it on the other one. So it works out perfect. Hialeah Park, truly the place to go today.
Wow. And you have a phone where you can watch this stuff while you're out there on a golf course? That surprises me because
I do.
You're not really up on modern
Naira
technology
bets.
usually. All right.
I've got Naira bets, so I can watch it there. But sometimes if I'm out there working for a charity, I won't even worry about it. I want to be surprised later on. So we'll see what happens.
See, I would say, myself just the opposite there, where, the charity was about to bust like an all-time record for raising money, and I'm going, come on with that fucking 6! Come on with that fucking 6! You're like paying no attention as the guy's holding up the big cardboard check. Totally immersed in my own degenerate journey. All right, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Hialeah Park, great place to be, man. The champion simulcasting room. I was telling somebody the other day, I was over at the Isle, which obviously from a proximity standpoint, it's 5 minutes away versus like 45. All right, so that's a direction I'm going to lean in. I don't like driving on 95 anymore anyway, even if it's the most important event I'm attending in my life. I always wish I was at Hialeah Park, though. Like I wish they would reverse. They could somehow juxtapose locations, or maybe I'll move to Hialeah. Because what a great place. And I tell everybody, man, you have to get there and experience that champion simulcasting room if you're a horse player, because it would be second only to being at Keeneland and looking out over God's earth there and saying, my Lord, it couldn't get any better than this, man. I can't wait to meet you, and I hope there is an afterlife. And will there be simulcasting in heaven? See, because if there's simulcasting in hell, you don't mind. Either direction is okay with me. All right, Gurggles, you ready to go? You ready to fire with you got some brain busters? Good. We have players lining up. 954-417-0070. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge here on the Defo Show. No hitter in the World Series last night. Now, is Dusty Baker the answer to one of your questions by chance?
No.
Because he was, in the opposing dugout when Halladay pitched a no-no in the playoffs, which was the only other no-hitter in postseason history. Roy Halladay for the Phillies, going, I guess, Baker was with the Giants, right? Had to be. Unbelievable. All right, we're coming back with the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge in a moment. Now that. Albert's been strumming that slide guitar there for a half an hour. Mike Mayo nearly ran out of the music the other day when he was trying to close out a show. It's 7:46. Ponies in Style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine foods served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
Hey folks, Tony Segreto here. You know, since day one, Catholic Health Services has been part of Old School. And since we've started letting people know about them, it's changed their lives. You see, Catholic Health Services, while being recognized as one of the top places for stroke rehab in the country, it's also about a group of people who not just excel in what they do, from the doctors to the nurses to the therapists, on and on and on. It's how they do what they do every single day that separates them from the pack. They do it with a passion, unmatched, and the inclusion of family in every step of the process. Trust me when I tell you this. If you want the best, unmatched rehab with a special group of skilled, caring people, there is truly only one place, and that one place is Catholic Health Services.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in the Plantation location, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. Their hours have changed a little bit. Monday through Thursday from 3:30 to 10, and Friday, Saturday, and Sunday from 11:30 to 10. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at
Oh, Solo Volante will be coming late. Oh, Solo Volante, the Belmont's now 1.8 miles. The finish line is coming up quick. Luca Panici, just switch the stick.
The only way to get your morning started is with Defo joined by Lubie right here on the Defo Show.
All right, welcome back to the show. Jump to Forest. We got Mike Lubie Lubitz going to play the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, and as always, and expertly conducted by the great Dave Gurggles Gergely. You heard from the Polyman there, and Polyman in his usual operatic style, coming across brilliantly, singing an original about Solo Volante, who didn't fare that well in the Belmont Stakes under the guidance of the great Luca Panici. This is great, too, this Breeders' Cup. I mean, I'm never really very good on these big days. I mean, I've hit my share of Derby, tries and things like that, and made some scores there. I might actually be ahead lifetime on the Derby just because of that one takedown that we got when they took down Maximum Security. And they put up Country House, right? So I hit the try there for like 11 dimes. I don't know that I bet 11 dimes lifetime on the Kentucky Derby. And I've had others, so it's good. But the Breeders' Cup and that type of stuff, I usually like bomb on these kind. Now, I would think, would have a real good edge because you're getting these turf horses from Europe that are like 30-1. With Frankie Dettori, and they're undefeated, and you're thinking, what's wrong with this animal here with the perfect bloodline? So a lot of interesting angles, but how do you fare usually on Breeders' Cup propositions?
Well, the biggest Breeders' Cup for me was, and I probably mentioned before, when Jerry Bailey had a catch mount with Arkang.
Oh, sure.
And I think Bertrando was the big favorite, and I played a dollar try, Bertrando all Kiss and Chris, and all Bertrando Kiss and Chris.
Ooh.
And here comes Arkang and pays $200. So
Wow.
that was the biggest one there. oh boy, I don't know, it was 2,100 or something like that. I
Beautiful.
forget. But I also had a big turf horse from either Germany or somewhere a couple of years ago. I can't even remember it. But I'll be looking a lot at the turf races. And then with the dirt, I'll probably need some help, and I got some other people helping me there. But it's fun because the worst horse, who's 30-1, would stand out in a
Yes.
lot of stake races otherwise. So that's why, you got some shots here that I think are really, I do like the Tory on a horse tomorrow, but I got one with Dylan Davis today. It's his only mount of the whole weekend. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, a lot of fun, and going to be very enjoyable. That's tomorrow, the first of the 14
Yep.
Breeders' Cup races. They run 5 of them. They're all the 2-year-old races, which is always inclined to maybe have a horse blow up the board there, with a big price also. So that's why I was thinking to pick 5. If you could find a couple of horses that you could really embrace, maybe you can throw in an all,
Yep.
and then some serious multiples in the other races, and maybe come away. I didn't win the Powerball last night. Nobody did. I was. This is interesting. I was going to wheel the 13 in the Powerball position on
Yep.
all of my tickets, but I couldn't figure out a way because I'm too lazy to fill out the rest of the card. Right. So, and who wants to stand at some gas station at it's like 10:59, and you have 1 minute to get the ticket in. So I'm just like, here's 20. Give me 10 of them. Because I don't know. I mean, are you inclined? It's a stupid bet. We know that, but don't you feel like you have to be in there with a shot at that point where it's
Yeah.
1.2 billion and
I'll
it
play
could be
a couple
you?
of them.
Yeah.
I'll play a couple. I mean, ironically, 13 is the number I use always in the Powerball slot.
Yes.
Didn't use it the other day because when I played basketball, that was my jersey number as a JV basketball player. On all the away games, I was 13. At home, I was 12. And you could always see the back of my jersey from the stands because I was sitting on the end of the bench with my jacket off. But that's the number I use all the time.
I can still see, I can still see that little white ball settling into 13 black one time when I was absolutely getting coned in Las Vegas and I was about to give up gambling forever. And so I forgot what it was. I took like my last 50 and put it on 13 black in disgust, hoping to lose so that I would quit gambling. And
Sure.
then I'm watching, and it all went in slow motion there. And then, sure enough, boom, right in there, 13. And I went right back
Beautiful.
to the track there and
Beautiful.
proceeded to lose to 3,500. All right, whatever it was, 1,750, I think it was. All right, Gurggles, let's get it going here. 954-417-0070, the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Lubie. Now, are you on tonight, Lubie, with the professor in the impossible proposition that is the Landlubbers Trivia Challenge Live, where now even the Chronics are protesting, like, carrying signs outside Landlubbers, boycotting the chicken wings? I mean,
Level the field. The other people, it's so funny. The other people will shake their head that it's hard, but they don't complain because it's level the field. Like, why would you want the same people winning all the time? Like, that defeats the purpose of trivia. So
yes.
they can say all they want. I love Ron. I love Lenny. I love all of them. It's level the field. The idea is to not. They're bitter because they're not winning every week. Okay, good. Then it's done its job. The point is to have everyone have a shot and enjoy themselves. And that's what they do. So 6:30 p.m. tonight, Landlubbers and Plantation. We hope to see you.
Yeah, I would encourage anybody who, even if they're not trivia mavens like the Chronics, to just go out there because, first of all, the food and the service is terrific. And second of all, the trivia that you and the professor put on is so entertaining. Even, it's not the one where you go like, oh, this is easy. I got this one. You really got to think about it and you get to discuss and interact a little bit. And even though it's not just all sports trivia, it's very little, as a matter of fact, it's really, really fun. So anybody who's online here, go out, grab a couple people, get out there. It's cheeseburger night, I think, for specials, and get a table and just have a blast. I mean, I hate to give Lubie any compliments, but it's really well done.
Oh, you're giving
well, and this just flashed across the newswire here that the Chronics have been cleared in the federal investigation into their Astros-like, there were insinuations that they were getting signals from the cook. And that he was aware of the answers because he was feeding Lubie and the professor and somehow fell upon the answer key, and that he was using some kind of code to pass along, whatever the answer happened to be. So, but they're cleared.
Well,
it's all on the level.
I know for a fact what it was. What it was on Lenny's cheeseburger, if he opened the top bun, he had the answers to the first 12 questions, but Lenny didn't know that, and it was gone like that, so
Oh, he
they
ate
didn't
it,
get
yeah.
any answer. Yeah.
I was thinking if it was like one pickle, it was a, that kind of thing. So, all right, here we go. Let's get into the game here.
Yep.
And we want to get started and give away that Landlubber's gift certificate that Lubie probably will distribute to the winner at Landlubber's tonight, as has become his custom. It saves you the stamp, it really does. So you should be happy about that, Lubie. Anything that we can use in a budget cut here, this age of inflation. All right, here we go. In tribute to the Polyman, who we love dearly, and one of the funniest guys I ever met in my life. I mean, just a terrific guy. The stories alone, his whole thing is a story. He speaks in stories. It's great. And we love the Polyman. We hope someday that we get the band back together. But while that's not happening, we dedicate the game to the Polyman. And, of course, he would start out the game in the traditional fashion with some. And very appropriate today, Gerg.
Easy baseball. This rather quirky Yankee outfielder on his relationship with George Steinbrenner and Billy Martin said, Steinbrenner, Billy Martin, and me, we get along, because me, George, and Billy are two of a kind. Was that the one and only Mickey Rivers, Johnny Rivers, Joan Rivers, or Joan of Arc?
Lubie, you have the scrambler. Is it working? Or did you have to give it some 3-and-1? All right, there it is. It's working well, and it lands on Ron. You're our first player here on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Good morning, Ron.
Hey, guys. Listen, since it's my birthday today,
I was just gonna say,
I think I should get an automatic. I should get an automatic buy into the finals. What do you think?
Well, it's possible that will happen anyway.
We wish you happy birthday. We wish you happy birthday, Ron. I think that's about it.
Yeah, well, we can't go outside the scope of the rules here. I mean, with all the different
gotta earn it.
Legal bodies and entities that are involved in this program. I mean, we have to conduct it on the level. So happy birthday, and you have 1 point.
All right, XFL football, Ron. Believe it or not, a guy we talk about a lot, former Detroit Lion and University of Iowa quarterback Chuck Long is going to be the co-offensive coordinator for the Arlington team in the XFL. True or false?
Let's go true.
That is true. Good job, Ron.
Yeah, for Bob Stoops. He's going to work with Bob Stoops.
2 for 2, Ronnie, on your birthday, and alive for the sweep.
Hi, Ron. Sticking with baseball. The record for most home runs in a World Series is 5, set by Reggie Jackson and
Ooh.
George Springer, Joe Carter, Chase Utley, or Ryan Howard?
Good one.
Let's go Carter.
I'm going Phillies and Utley.
Springer? Oh,
there you go.
You got it right. Ron, happy birthday. All right.
It was an unlikely, choice from among those guys. So good question. But then who are we talking to? But Mr. Philadelphia himself, man.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, if Hanks wasn't cast in that role in the movie Philadelphia, it would have been Dave Gurggles Gergely, although a little awkward of a role for Gurggles to play, I would think. He'd be more inclined to play like a quiz show host in the $64,000 question. They were feeding a woman the answers last night on Wheel of Fortune. I think there'll be an investigation into that. All right, going for 7 points here, Ron, and this would set the pace, certainly put you in a good position.
Boxing, Ron. Which of the following fighters was the youngest boxing world champion? Wilfred Benitez, Salvador Sanchez, Hector Camacho, or Mike Tyson?
Youngest ever. Let's go Tyson.
Got to be Benitez.
Take it away,
Tyson.
Jeff.
Yeah.
No.
Benitez.
You know. What is it? Yes,
Wilfredo
17 years.
Benitez,
Wilfred
yeah.
Benitez.
Yeah.
Yep.
Boy, did he get robbed in that Sugar Ray Leonard fight too? Man, they stopped that one like 3 seconds ago. Was that Sugar Ray? No, it was another fighter he was going against. But I mean, they just absolutely robbed this kid. 5 seconds ago, they stopped the fight. He had a little blood coming from his forehead there because he got headbutted, and otherwise was winning the fight. But no, he was great. I think he was like 16 when he won a world championship.
17.
Absolutely,
17
ridiculous.
years old.
All right, Ron, you shut him out on his birthday. Way to go, Kurtz.
Happy birthday, Ron. Sorry.
Send them an exploding cigar from Perdomo if they manufacture a new line. All right, we're going to come back with more players. Dial us up if you want to play. 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. And if you're looking for a good cigar, of course, we mentioned Perdomo. They explode with taste, but not necessarily in the fashion
That's
that
right.
you would consider as a practical joke. But it's no joke what they're
Right.
doing there at Perdomo Cigars.
That's right. They make them perfectly one at a time at their Cuban Seed Tobacco Farm in Nicaragua. And you can get them right here in Miami Lakes area, 5150 Northwest 167th Street. You don't have to go to the Maldives like I am right there to get one. Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. I'm going down there later today to see Nick Jr., his beautiful wife, Lauren, and Janine, Nick's beautiful wife. They're a fourth generation of making cigars perfect one at a time. 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the Palmetto on the south side, a little bit east of the Home Depot. And Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. this week for Breeders' Cup, or you want to celebrate anything in your family, or you just want to relax with a great cigar. Perdomo's the place to go. You're not sure? Call them, 305-627-6700, or go online, www.perdomocigars.com, to find the retailer near you that sells these great smokes. So this weekend, Breeders' Cup, on Friday, I'm going to give you 3 turf horses. The 6th race, which is the turf sprint. Love Rain's probably the favorite at 4-1, but also use Sharp as Attack 15-1. 8th race, Mediate with Ryan Moore is going to be the favorite at 4-1. He's a good bet there. And the 10th race, my bet of the weekend, the 10 Web Slinger with Dylan Davey out of the 10 hole, 20-1 in the 10th race. So there you are. Any of those cross the line first, or they make your pick 5, put something great in your mouth with a cigar from Perdomo Cigars.
There's nothing like watching Gurggles root home a long shot. You are as vibrant, effervescent, and enthusiastic as anybody that I've ever seen. It's absolutely fantastic. And Gurggles loves, and he gives the shush sign to the poor losers that are stooping for tickets in his wake. It's incredible. All right, we're coming back with more here at the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Always great to represent Hialeah Park, and they're a fantastic location. I don't know how booked up they are, but I would make a reservation for a seat at Hialeah Park, the Champion Simulcasting Room, for all of the activity taking place on Friday. And then Saturday is spectacular with 9 Breeders' Cup races and even more all around the country. Going to be just a great, great day to plunge your guts out, and opportunities to make a score. That's what you're looking for.
Yes.
You have a much
Absolutely.
better chance of maybe even lucking into something with wheels and back wheels and things of that nature with horses with a much more limited bankroll and odds heavily in your favor compared to the Powerball, which I did manage to get 2 on one line last night. That was it. That's worthless, right?
Probably.
I cut some little old lady off to get in line at Publix, which they never sell a winner at Publix, do they? It's always some gas station.
That's literally what we were talking about her parents, because surely I think the lottery's dumb. My grandma played it every week, so I literally just hate the lottery. So her parents come home and they do the thing where they plan how they're spending the money they're winning, and I'm a grump, and I'm like, you're not winning.
I bought 2 houses on the Hillsborough Mile, adjoining houses for my son's family and me. It's gonna be great. And another one for the Mustang. I should have her own place at that point. Right?
So they had just gone to Publix. So Shirley's like, go. I'm like, I'm not going. I think it's stupid. If you want to go, I'll go with you. So we're on our way there, and we both are like, no one ever wins at Publix. I'm like, never. They never win. Never. So it's literally a waste of the 15 or 10 or whatever the hell dollars.
20 right out the door. Yeah. Yep. It's funny too when you get in an argument with your wife about how the money is going to be spent. Okay, so I'm thinking, what, you clear about 800 million, maybe less, 700 million of the 1.2. All right, so 700 million. You literally could go out and spend $100 million and buy a couple of houses, in the fanciest, schmanciest of most luxurious real estate areas, and you still have like 600 million left, right? So then you could give all your friends like 20 million. And you're still going to have like a couple of $100 million left to, it should be enough to get out, no?
Yes.
And then she comes back with, wait a minute. I'm not giving that money to my sister. It's like, we have no chance of winning this money. What are you talking about?
Are you fighting over fictitious money? Her parents are doing it.
Typical degenerate stuff, right, Gurggles?
Yes.
If you had won that try, you would have given me 100. So why don't you give me 100 now? But I didn't win. But if you had. All right. Back in a moment. More of the trivia challenge. Fighting over the money that obviously we were never going to see. And it's not happening, man. I don't know what I would do with $1.2 billion ticket, I'd lose it, right? I'd throw it out with the trash, right? See the garbage man pulling away with the whole thing, and you're following, running down the road. No, that's my money. All right, back with more in a moment. Now that. I can't believe she was going to stiff her sister. 806.
Hey, folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously, friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched. Steaks hand cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
How many gamblers did I bail out last weekend with my game of the year? $100 better made $10,000. A $500 better made $50,000. Well, I got 6 games on Sunday that I'm releasing absolutely free. These games are a burial, a blowout, a human lock. You can bet your unborn children on these 6 games.
I believe.
We now return to the Defo Show.
I was just thinking about we were actually arguing over what we were going to do with the money, man. How much do we give to the Poly man? 10 million? Is that enough to get him out? 10 million?
Well, I hit a pick six.
Out of 7 or 800 million, what's 10? Nothing, right?
Yeah, I remember hitting a pick six for 23,000, and I gave Paulie a little stake a few years back, and
nice.
I gave it to him in, I think, June, and I said, listen, Paulie, I know you got a family. Why don't you just start paying me $100 a month come January? He said, oh, thanks so much. Well, I didn't say January of what year, I guess, so that's my own fault.
Yeah, you're like Phil Rizzuto, man. All of a sudden, you're the money store. Send a couple of big. Well, no, I don't even want to remind Paulie man of that. Sending a couple of big guys after the guy.
Nah.
10 million, right? I mean, how much you give each of your friends? Do you at least give them $1 million? Do you go Clooney? Remember, he had like a suitcase after he sold Casamigos, this tequila for like $1 billion, and he gave like his
maybe I do what Hollywood Henderson did when he hit it. Hollywood Henderson, when he hit the first of his 2 lotteries in Texas, wrote $1,000 checks to friends and relatives and said,
"That's it.
Never get in touch with me again.
Lose my number."
Done.
Yep. To give them money so they can't say you're cheap, and then say, "Look, this is the end." Like,
yeah, you have to have all of your friends and sign a waiver never to contact you again.
Exactly. Honestly.
Upon receipt of this capital. All right, and I'm going to hit it on Saturday. I came close here with 2 out of 5. I have been so far off on this, except I was going to wheel at 13 in the Powerball position the other night when it came in. All right, here we go. Yep. Ready to go. 954-417-0070. It's the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Ron bombed out here on his birthday, but it doesn't mean he's out of contention. And Lubie's going to be at Landlubbers tonight there. We have a Landlubbers gift certificate we're giving away. And there's a prestige that comes with having a World Series no-hitter, even if it was a combined no-hitter. I mean, does Abreu or any of the other guys, Presley, did they take as much credit for it? No, it was the kids' game all the way, right? Christian Javier, right. He was the rising fastball. What was that? Whoop! Right up the ladder it went, man, right under the chin. That was good stuff. And then they were giving him that low strike. You had legitimate complaints there, Gurggles, if you were a Phillies fan, because, wow.
Yep.
A couple of those balls were like brushing the dirt there. Who was behind the plate? Angel Hernandez? Could have been.
No, it was the guy's first time behind the plate.
Oh, yeah?
Yep.
Jesus.
Did he come with a striped cane like the boxing refs used to at the Olympic Auditorium? The judges? Also with very fat pockets full of cash.
Adelaide Bird.
Adelaide Bird, yeah. Wow. Canelo, 118, 108 or whatever that was. Guy's got 2 black eyes. He's got a steak on his eye at the press conference. But he won every round. All right, here we go. Next set of questions. Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Oh, my God.
All right, a lot of requests for this. Auto racing. This offbeat comedian on auto racing once quipped, the other day I watched the Indy 500, and I was thinking, if they just left a little bit earlier, they wouldn't have to go so fast. Wasn't it? The one and only Stephen Wright, Orville Wright, Wilbur Wright, or Wilbur from Mr. Ed?
All right, here's a random phone scrambler here. Select our next player on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Oh, look at that, man. He'll be complaining tonight, griping about the questions. But
he don't complain.
Lenny the Chronic.
He doesn't. He's actually very respectful. I appreciate
Chronic,
it.
do you really need that hearing aid, or is that some kind of device that you use to receive messages?
We don't need that. We don't need that.
Right, oral stimulus. Yeah.
Professor is awful tough.
Yeah.
But we enjoy it. We enjoy it.
What's your choice there, Lenny?
Not mumbling. All right.
I'll go A.
Here we go.
All right, very good.
All right. Baseball, true or false? Believe it or not, during the 1800s, the Phillies were known as the Philadelphia Franklins in homage to Ben Franklin. True or false?
I'm going to say false.
That's what I would have said.
It is false.
Oh,
they were
good.
known as the Philadelphia Quakers back then, believe it or not.
All right. So you came through, Lenny. This is an historic occasion here. Wait a minute. Just like the no-hitter in the World Series. Got a true false correct. All right. 2 for 2, Lenny. Going for 5. Still alive for a sweep.
All right. I know you're a big baseball fan, Lenny, so let's do horse racing. All right. Breeders' Cup. Which 1998 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies winner was named after a beer? Was it Silver Bullet Day, Countess Newcastle, Guinness Lady, or Foster's Delight?
Let's go with the Silver Bullet.
Silver Bullet Day. Yeah. Correct.
Oh, my God.
Wow. Wow.
An obscure Breeders' Cup question you throw at Lenny, and he answers with authority and gets it right. So, all right, here we go. I mean, I would imagine that this one will have a very high degree of difficulty, Lenny, because Gurggles is tired of you sweeping his ass every week now on the show.
All right, here we go.
Oh, my God.
Lenny, best of luck to you. Yeah, fingers crossed for the right reason. All right.
This ought to be a beauty.
Hockey. Who was the first defenseman to score a hat trick in a Stanley Cup final?
All right.
Bobby Orr, Eric Desjardins, Larry Robinson, or Brian Leach?
Let's go Brian Leach.
Brian Leach.
That would have been my guess, too. We both would have been wrong.
All right.
It was Eric Desjardins, 1993, Montreal versus the LA Kings.
All right, Chronic.
Never would have got that one right. Except for the obscurity of the guy's name.
But so was
compared to
Silver
the others.
Bullet Day, for crying out loud. Jeez.
Lenny with 5, though. A very noble effort there by Lenny. As usual, tight play has him in contention for the championship round here. Ron bombed out. You can dial us up if you want to play it at 954-417-0070, 954-417-0070. And while we get things together here, Gurggles, give us a little more info about Perdomo cigars and where we can get our hands on. I know you're going to be spreading them around there on the golf course over the weekend and the next couple of
I
days.
will be there. I'm going there later today. Say hello to Nick and the gang. I'll grab a couple with me to take to Doral for Friday, and I'll also have some Saturday for the Breeders' Cup. But you can get them anytime, Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m., 5150 Northwest 167th Street on the access road on the south side of the Palmetto between 47th and 57th Avenue. And Monday through Friday, 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. You're not sure? Call them, 305-627-6700. But when you walk in, yesterday or Tuesday, I went there, and there were on their break about 5 motorcycle cops just sitting back, relaxing, having a cigar. And I told them, guys, I really appreciate what you guys do. The utmost respect for me, and they obviously have the utmost respect for Perdomo cigars, which is the best around. So tomorrow, pick one up. 5150 Northwest 167th Street. Go online, www.perdomocigars.com, to find a retailer near you that sells these terrific cigars. So have a perfect weekend with a perfect cigar.
You know what? Talking about perfect symmetry, right? You walk into Hialeah Park there, you light up a Perdomo while you're outside, and because of the beautiful horticulture there that Dennis Testa does such a marvelous job with, you get the mix of the waft of that fine cigar smoke and the aroma there, and the chlorophyll and all of this stuff in the air. Just absolutely beautiful, absolutely amazing. I sound like Timothy Leary endorsing Perdomo cigars.
Chlorophyll.
Chlorophyll.
I think that's what's in the.
I need chloroform when I go into Hialeah Park, because I'm going to start betting my brains out, man. I mean, all of a sudden, my eyes are like kaleidoscopes there in that casino with the Royal Reels, man. And everybody's doing the cha-cha in there. It's fantastic. They're just like happy. Bop, 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 bop. Right? As you're going machine to machine. Hey, hit another jackpot. Attendant, hey, yo, over here. And, they have to dole out the 2,000 or whatever you want. It's a great, great place, Hialeah Park. All right, here we go. Continuing the game, and we'll take this to a conclusion here as we'll play as many as we can. If we can get a few more in, we will. 954-417-0070. Here is Dave Gurggles Gergely, our next set of questions here, laced with chlorophyll on the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge.
Boxing. This heavyweight fighter, after being knocked down by Mike Tyson, recalled, geez, Mike Tyson dropped me. And when I looked up, the count was on 5. I said to myself, damn, what happened to 1, 2, 3, and 4? What's that? Buster Mathis Jr., Buster Olney, Buster Brown, or Chad Brown?
Here's a random phone scrambler to select our next player. Pat, the great thespian Pat. Pat, did I see you as one of the cast members of American Gigolo that just aired on Showtime? Were you involved in that show at all? Or were you in the lead? No?
Maybe.
All right.
Hey,
some guy named John Bernthal, man. He had that Richard Gere look. Yeah, he was good.
He's good.
Once punched down Oliver Stone. True or false?
Hey.
A is correct.
All right.
Very good.
And I don't want to besmirch Pat's reputation, but rumor has it, in his younger days, he was involved in an adult film, and it was an Army film called Saving Ryan's Privates. But I don't know if that was him or not. Okay.
Hey, you got to start somewhere, right? I started at the Fontana
That's right.
Herald
Why
News,
not?
for God's sake. Yeah.
That's how Stallone started. Yeah, that's right. All right, football, Pat, your 1-point question, your true or false. Eagles coach Nick Sirianni, during his press conference, announced that one of his mom's cousins tried to come on the field to watch their game between the Steelers, but he was wearing a Pittsburgh jersey, so Sirianni would not let him on the field. True or false?
That's funny.
That sounds so far-fetched. I'll say true.
True. It is
It
true.
is true. It is
Very
true.
good.
His cousin was wearing a Steelers jersey. Didn't do them any good, that's for sure.
Hey, was Jacques Laperriere one of your choices on that hockey question that you nailed anyway?
No, it was not. No, Larry Robinson was, but no, not Jacques Laperriere. Not Peter Worrell either. We didn't have either. All right.
Oh, Worrell was
3-point
unlikely to be
question.
scoring 3 goals, in the season.
3-point question, Pat.
Here we go.
Which pitcher led the Phillies in 2008, their last appearance in the World Series, in wins during that season? Cole Hamels, Jamie Moyer, Kyle Kendricks, or Brett Myers?
Wow.
Moyer.
The old veteran, Jamie Moyer.
The ageless one. 17-6 that year. Well done, Pat.
Had a really good record.
For some reason, when WGN was airing Cubs games around the country, and it was a real novelty to watch them, I was home in the afternoon, and I turned on the game, and Jamie Moyer at like 40 was making his rookie appearance. I remember that. And they were saying, like, this guy, there was a guy named Bob Hughes for the Cardinals many years ago that came in as a rookie at like 35. And that was, one of those, Cinderella stories, a lifetime minor leaguer. He finally makes it. And, they were talking about the guy and saying, this guy's like, what a story. He's 40 years old. He's a rookie. And he lasted another 20 years.
Yeah.
He was older than Satchel Paige when he retired. It was great. All right, very good, Pat. Sniff that out. Pat, line for the sweep also.
Yep. All right, college football. Which player was responsible for the most TDs during his collegiate career in the BCS era from 1998 to 2012? Was that Tim Tebow, Russell Wilson, David Klinger, or Chase Keenum?
Oh, I think I know that one.
Klinger.
That's what I would have said. Klingler.
Klingler's way before the BCS era.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Yeah, you're right.
Believe it or not, it was Case Keenum. 178
Case Keenum.
TDs
Wow.
from 2007 to 2011. 155 passing, 23 rushing.
All right, right now we have a dead heat for the top spot here. Two classic players, Lenny and Pat, each have 5 points. So we'll try and get another one in at 954-417-0070. 954-417-0070. How much handicapping did you do, Gurggles, for the Breeders' Cup so far? How long does it take you to scope out, these bombs that you usually come up with on the turf?
Well, a good friend of mine sent me the pre-entries when they were all declared, and so I've had them just about a week now. So then when the draw came out Monday, I eliminated the ones that were not in, and by that time I'd already had my turf numbers done. And I got to take a look at the dirt today. But and then I'll go out. Maybe I'll send my friend some money because I will not be there Friday. I'll be on the golf course. But I definitely will be there Saturday. But Friday I'll stop by Hialeah, make some bets first. So can't beat it. But I'm ready.
Light up Perdomo and enjoy the symmetry of the chlorophyll.
Yes.
And the cigar smoke as it comes together. It's very interesting, man. There's something for Mayo to discuss. It's almost like a culinary experience. All right, here we go. Let's grab another player, another set of questions. Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Okay, here we go. Golf. This golf pro relating to history said, Columbus went around the world in 1492. That isn't a lot of strokes when you consider the course. What's that? Lee Trevino, Lee Leonard, Leonard Bernstein, or Beth Bernstein? We'll work her in there.
It's very clever. Yeah, her name came up in conversation the other day, surprisingly, as the socialite of all time in Fort Lauderdale. We have Andy. Andy, how are you, man? Where are you, Andy? Are you okay? Are you home?
Yeah, I'm down to one working body part, and it only works for about 45 minutes without a pill.
Well, we're glad you're all right, Andy, and always in good spirits.
Yes.
So you have 1 point, you're in the game.
Jamie Moyer was the guy who punted on Monty Stratton. Be careful in the movie. That was everything.
Yeah. June Allison was in tears, man, as Stratton went to the ground there with that peg leg.
That was so bad. I think June Allison actually wet her depends in that movie. All right. Golf, Andy, true or false? A lot of people want to know how Tiger Woods got his nickname Tiger. Well, here's how it happened. True or false? While serving in Vietnam, Earl Woods befriended a courageous colonel named Nguyen Tang Phong, known as Tiger to his friends. According to Earl, shortly before the war ended, Tiger Phong disappeared without a trace. Earl came home and in memory of him named his son Tiger. True or false?
I believe that's a true story. I think I heard that before. I'll go with true.
Yes, true it is. Yeah,
it is true. Well done.
Sounded, like too much for you to make up there, Ray Gurggles. Even though you're extremely clever at this sort of stuff, but yeah, that was a lot of detail there. What was the guy's name? Wang Fung Young.
It was Win One Soon. No, that was another one. It was Wang Dang Fong. Yeah.
Wang Dang Fong. Yeah, I had that the other day.
I think Lubie ordered that one time. I think when he was out for dinner. All right.
Mayo panned it. He said that they don't know how to make it at May's Kitchen. Some little hole in the wall restaurant. All right, very good.
All right, 3-pointer.
2 for 2. Here we go. Going for 5.
And we want to know who was the first runner to be picked off in a World Series game to end the game.
Wow.
What's that? Ricky Henderson, Colton Wong, Maury Wills, or Pie Traynor?
Let's go with Colton Wong.
Yes. Wow.
Game 4 of the 2013 series, we had the Red Sox by the closer Koji Uehara. Yep, he was picked off. Well done.
Was he the only guy ever to be picked off to end a World Series game? A
Well,
walk-off
he was the only one picked off to end the game.
Yeah.
That was the third out in the end of the World Series. Yeah, he's the only one for that. Yep.
So that would go down as a walk-off
five-pointer?
No?
Yep, that's right. 5-pointer for you.
And the guy gets picked off.
Huh?
Okay, here we go.
What happened?
5-point question, Andy.
It sounded like he got clicked off, not picked off. Andy,
1971 was the first of 2 All-Star games with the ABA versus the NBA. Where was that game played? Was it the Spectrum in Philly, the Nassau Coliseum, the Astrodome, or the University of Louisville?
Sandy? There you go.
All right, I got it. I'm thinking I'll go with Louis Dampierre with the Kentucky connection, so I'll go with the University of Louisville.
Makes sense, but it's wrong. It was played the Astrodome in Houston.
Astrodome.
And Walt Frazier was the MVP that game.
All right, well, we ended up with a trio here with 5 points apiece, so we're going to have to go to the Scrambler to determine the 2 people in the finals. Hialeah Park, great place. Gurggles, you love it in there. See, I'm usually at the section with the tables there, yelling and screaming.
Yeah.
And then you're, more of the, focused in,
antisocial.
Individual.
Antisocial, yeah.
I don't want to necessarily
you like
go in
the
that
whole
direction.
court and have Kyle and the guys around you and talking everything, kibitz. Not me, man. I want no part of that. Just
you don't want to
give me my screen. Let me.
You roll the other way, though, sometimes at the bar there when you're at Gulfstream.
Yeah.
So.
Give me a couple of McAllens and we'll have some fun. No doubt about it, by all means.
I used to hoist them with the Capitan at the brass rail. That was one of your favorite activities.
That's exactly right. Yeah, Bud Light specials,
yeah.
Or he drinks his red wine. By all means, you can't beat the drink specials there as well. Great place to go. Now, Friday, I think it's an 11:30 post and Saturday at 10:30 post. So check on their website.
Yeah,
they'll be opening the doors early. Go there Thursday and get your form.
The Friday races, I think those start at like 2:30 or 3, the Breeders' Cup races. There's only 5 of them. So I guess they're like the last 5 on the card there.
Yeah,
one thing that doesn't appeal
5
to
is
me,
a regular card.
Yeah.
Yep.
The time between races, though, drives me crazy. And you know me with my screen-to-screen tendencies. I mean, it's pretty hard when they put up like 46 minutes to the next race. Thank goodness for screen-to-screen. I'm betting the dogs at Wheeling Downs just to pass the time.
That's why God invented Laurel.
And they're not afraid to pull some stuff over there either, in honor of the great Jim McKay. All right, the finals are ready, and the Ranaphone Scrambler has selected Pat and Andy to challenge each other in the finals here. So somehow the Chronic was eliminated there by arbitrary bad luck on his part. There you go. There's the Scrambler, and there it is. It shows just as I indicated, Pat and Andy.
Yes, magic.
Surprising. And you guys know the deal here. Gurggles fires off the question. Call out your name if you want to answer. Nobody answers right away. We offer multiple choice. First person to call out his name gets first choice. We go back and forth until we have a winner for the championship. Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Dave Gurggles Gergely.
Good luck, guys. Breeders' Cup weekend maybe gives an edge to Andy, but we'll see. In 2003, Julie Crone became the first female jockey to win a Breeders' Cup race aboard.
Ooh. Anybody? Here's multiple choice.
Was that Lady Secret, Half Bridled, Miss Turquoise, or Gopher Wand?
Wow. Pat, who was it?
Who?
B.
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 B as in boy?
Yes.
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 That's right. Half Bridled. Well done.
Good job.
And the juvenile fillies. Wow.
See you later.
Jinxed Andy. You cursed Andy by saying he should have a leg up on this thing. Literally. All right, nice job, Gurgs. Congratulations to Pat. That was brilliant. Got it on the first shot. Andy and Lenny played an excellent game, and happy birthday to Ron. Gurggles,
Yes, happy
okay.
birthday, Ron.
What's the itinerary, Gurggles? What do you have going?
Well, today I've got a meeting with a retired firefighter, to do a Fallen Heroes golf tournament for them. We're working on that, so I've got a meeting there. Later on, I may sneak out somewhere and hand some bets to some people for Friday. But then tomorrow, Friday, I'll be stopping by Hialeah, making some bets, picking up Saturday's form around 1 o'clock for the home team, a real good charity I'll be working for. Then get them home Friday night, hopefully after the Phillies have taken a lead in this series. and then study for Saturday, and then Saturday bright and early, I'll be ready to rock and roll.
Oh,
So
plunging?
wish
Oh,
everybody
very
good health. Yeah, I'll be at the Breeders' Cup Saturday, but not sure the locale right yet. But I know I'll be at Hialeah and pick up my stuff tomorrow. But
Now, are
you
you at
guys have a
Are you
great
at the Blue
weekend.
Monster? Are you at the Blue Monster for that golf thing?
I'll be on the red course. It's called, ironically enough, the Tiger Red, on hole number 16, doing my beat the broadcaster and raising some money for the home team. So,
All right, well,
gentlemen, Lubie, have a great show tonight, and
Gurggles,
Jeff, we'll
pleasure.
talk to you later.
All right, Gurggles, on the run, man. Very nice. Dave Gurggles Gergely, ladies and gentlemen. A fine job conducting the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge, and that's brought to you, as always, by the great people at Hialeah Park, Jeff DeForest, Mike Lubie Lubitz. We'll come back with more, and then later on today, and we make a little bit of an early exit here on these Thursday shows. So if you're one of those people that is like pressed wire to wire on the Defo show here, we appreciate that. But we make room for Brandon Lang, who checks in with us on our Believe podcast, and it's an excellent prelude. It's probably, for my money, the most interesting. I mean, I love all of our guys. The professor's great. Of course, he combines his picks with the big board. Mark Lawrence with that brilliant quantification of all of these different things that he has in his computer database. Very entertaining with his theories. But I would have to say that this is one of the oddest presentations of selections in the prelude building up to that. I want to get into that, though, with Brandon Lang. And it's interesting to me because the Mustang is, walking a dog here. I saw her getting ready. She's going out to play some tennis early this morning. A nice life that she's leading. And she was literally in an argument with me about how we were going to distribute this cash.
The fictional money, you're not going to win.
I tend to be very generous with money that I don't have. So it's like, yeah, Sarney, give him $15 million, whatever. Mayo, he deserves to retire. Take care of everybody. And then, the list gets long. And then it was funny because we were starting out like we were inviting people to a wedding, and we ran out of invitations because it was going to cost us $150 a head. And it was like, hey, do we really need to invite, Susie? She hasn't spoken to you in years. I'm thinking the odds of us hitting this obviously are less than 1 in a zillion, because nobody's hit it for long enough for this pool to build up to now almost $1.4 billion is going to be the thing. You can buy and sell Elon Musk at that point.
Exactly.
You're like, Musk, you're out of here. Get out of here. Take your MAGA principles and just take a walk, man. I'm a little afraid of what's coming up on Tuesday, Lubie. How are you? Are you okay with that?
I'm not excited at all. What's so weird is everyone I talk to can't stand certain candidates, but they're up in every poll.
Way up, too. I mean, like landslide. Yeah.
I don't understand.
Don't mess with my Medicare and Social Security. Those are the two greatest things that ever happened to an old person. They really are, except for maybe longevity, which is even better because then you're beating the government out of even more money after they were swiping your capital your entire working life. And now all of a sudden you're getting it back, and these guys like Rick Scott want to say, these seniors are really partying on that Social Security money.
Please go vote, please. Shirley and I are going to go today. Please go vote. Please.
It's sad, too. I mean, this is one of those times where you're up against it, at least in the Florida races, where neither of my guys stand a chance. Right? Not that Charlie Crist is my cup of tea, but, considering the alternative, looms on being evil to me.
Yeah.
Let's go in another direction here. And then Rubio, I mean, I've never seen a bigger tool than Marco Rubio, whether you were a Republican or not.
Outside of Miami, small parts of Miami, no one likes Rubio. That's what's so weird to me is he doesn't ever vote. It's well known.
Everything he says reeks of being a schmuck. That's what I think. Every time he says something, I'm just like, what?
No one likes him, but yet he wins.
Highlighted by his performance at that town meeting, sadly, with the Marjorie Stoneman Douglas shooting. And I mean, and the kid asked him, he says, Marco, would you be willing to give up this NRA money that fuels all of your campaigns?
Nope.
And he's like, well,
NRA woman was there. I was there watching, and he's like,
oh my God, what a meltdown of nothingness. Most spineless response I've ever seen. I mean, just admit it. Just say, hey, yeah, no, I'm taking this gun money. What do you think, man? So what that this kid had an AK-47 and he was a nutbag? Why don't we just make it easy for him? Let's have a gun show right outside in the basketball courts there. Right? I mean, it's insane. But I think we're going down, Lubie. You and I are anyway, and other people are going to be happy about it, and that's fine, wherever you stand. But I just never. I mean, there's no appealing, a characteristic at all to Marco Rubio to me. I mean, what is it that he stands for, except that he's on the far right?
And especially Demings, like for all Republicans are usually big on crime. She was worked her way up the police system to become one of the higher people, and it's big on crime. So,
her commercials weren't effective. She should fire her ad agency. I don't know that she was going to win anyway, because it's a long shot here. We've become a very right-wing Republican state, Florida. Always were. I mean, because once you get north of Palm Beach, it's Cracker City. Correct?
Well, the problem is down here used to rule, so it didn't matter.
And now Miami, I guess, is turning,
It was actually a blue state forever, and the South sort of got corrupted by Cubans who don't realize they're immigrants. Cubans think because of that wet foot, dry foot bullshit that they're not like Mexicans.
I'm sure Ron DeSantis has nothing but empathy for the Cuban population of Miami. Yeah. And, they're going to support him. I mean, overwhelmingly so. So you can't win, Rock. That's the way it is. So I'm walking across the street to the church thinking I'm betting two losers, right? Like the other day when I put my last $10 on the 5-horse at Gulfstream, who was 50-1. And you looked at the racing form. There was a 0 chance this horse was going to win the race, right? He came on a track. He looked like crap. And I thought, what's my only way out here, man? I'm stuck 300. I'll put the last $10 on this 50-1 shot. So it's funny. They have these things that trace, where the horses are. They have like a little electronic device, not a battery like they used to in the old days, in the saddle cloth. And so, you can see the numbers, right, where your horse is and which way it's going, whether it's moving up or moving backwards. Kind of a nice thing. And so I'm watching this horse with my friend Big Rich. And he says, where's your 5? And literally, he was moving backwards.
Oh, no.
Off the screen into the parking lot that is on, I don't know what that is, the north side of the track or whatever. I mean, he was so far out of the picture, but you could see him evolving to that position of being so desperately dead last that, like the Philly fans last night, I started walking out before the game was actually over. There was no need. It was like Mush had come down the stairs there and started screaming, "Come on, Kryptonite!" It's great. All right, we're coming back with more to talk about here on the show. We have a Thursday night football game on tap. And then don't forget, we'll have on our Believe podcast, Brandon Lang, always a hoot and very authoritative in his selections. I think he's been doing well. I don't know how he did last week, Lubie, but all right.
Good. He was not good last week, but he gives plays. Like we've known when guys go crazy with tons and tons of plays, it usually hurts them. It doesn't help.
I enjoy hearing whatever it is, and then you can kind of pick and choose which games that you feel strongly about. If he happens to take a position that's similar to yours, that's always a good thing, right? And every now and then maybe he turns your mind around about a game, but they're not going to win every ball game. They know that. If you're hitting it like 65%, you're doing well. I mean, really well. So 70% is enormous in degenerate gambling. And then there's the VIG, the juice. All right, we're coming back with more in a moment. Now that.
It's time!
8:39.
Folks, Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
You're in a pickup game. You want Dellavedova on your team?
I mean, do I have any other options?
You would leave him out of the game even if he brought the game ball?
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie and Chris. Here on 940 Wins Miami Sports.
Game even if he brought the... How many years has Dellavedova been in the NBA? A sighting last night at the, whatever they call the Miami Arena now.
Chris has been doing news for like a decade. So that tells you how old that is.
Wow. Matthew Dellavedova, man. We saw him, actually, when we went to that Minnesota Timberwolves game against the Milwaukee Bucks. I think he was with the Bucks at the time.
Yeah.
This guy haunts us, doesn't he? Matthew Dellavedova. He's always diving on guys' kneecaps and stuff like that. Crazy stuff. They didn't do anything about Kyrie Irving. He's going to ante up $500,000 for some anti-defamation activity and a sort of quasi-apology for recommending this completely anti-Semitic movie, and saying that this is the gospel. Like, this was his version of Citizen Kane. This was the greatest film ever made. And it was, what was it? Negroes to Hebrews or something? I don't know. Some weird title.
The reference that he said a movie that's massively anti-Semitic was worth a good watch or something, but I haven't seen the actual name of the movie or what the movie's actually about.
It's going to be Charles Barkley and be able to go on an NBA telecast on TNT as part of the halftime show. No, not everything he says. Charles Barkley, I know everybody loves him. I love Barkley. The fact that he's got this commentary that isn't as common as everybody else's. Well, you know what? If they rotate the 2 spot over to the 3 and they play so-and-so 4 minutes a game. All right, enough of that, right? It drives you crazy. Some of that is useful, if you're looking for, in-depth analysis. Probably if you're listening to some guys analyze basketball, if you're that deeply into it, you could easily come up with these same theories yourself, could you not? So all of those guys that are going in depth are alienating completely the average fan, and the person that really wants to take it to those depths of analysis probably gets there before the commentator even says it. Right? They just verify what you already had said in your head. So Barkley, I mean, he's great, even if he doesn't know anything about the subject. It's still fun, right? Like, he doesn't know anything about college basketball, admittedly. And yet he is a focal point because he's entertaining, which is what we've always said, right, Louie? If you're not going to be that knowledgeable, be entertaining.
That's true.
And if you can combine the two, then it's really good, right? If you can be entertaining and also have some foundation in what it is that you're talking about in terms of a depth of knowledge, that's a nice combination. Although, it's rare that you see that. But he came right out and said, Adam Silver, man, how could you do nothing about this with Kyrie Irving? You suspend guys for all kinds of different things. Your man Myers Leonard, wasn't he suspended for making anti-Semitic remarks?
Yes.
Suspended. So how is Kyrie Irving, who, the thing about Kyrie Irving that is incredible, he has some like 4 million Twitter followers that are reading this and seeing him express these thoughts that, clearly you run the league. And, it's okay. You're not limiting freedom of speech, but you're just saying, hey, listen, we're doing business here, man. There are consequences to, going public with the idea that, you want to go, and this was Kanye West, but, DEF CON with the Jews. I mean, come on. That's not a good look for the NBA, is it? With all of their supposed, dedication to improving the human condition?
Quality
eradicating racism and poverty and all of these other things that they're on board to do good with, which maybe they do some good. Although I never see those. Was there ever any improvement to the area there around the Heat's facility? Remember, they were going to do all kinds of things there.
Yeah, it
seems
nice.
To me when you walk, it's nicer now. Yeah.
No, it's nice right there because it was on the water, and 2 blocks over is trash.
Yeah. 2 blocks over, you're just hoping you don't suffer the same fate as Jan Stevenson, the golfer who had like her wedding ring ripped off her finger after somebody put a fungo bat through the windshield of their car. But that was supposed to come with a vast improvement to the surrounding areas there, to the old Miami arena. That stuff never happens, right?
No.
Never happens.
Oh, no.
But you would think Adam Silver, I mean, wouldn't sponsors be diving off? I mean, the Brooklyn Nets came out finally with some kind of quasi apology, as did Kyrie Irving, and they're each throwing up like $500,000 to, help eradicate these kind of things and make sure that stuff like this isn't spread around and fueling ideas of maniacs to go out and act upon these ideas or these principles, which are horrifying. Pretty lame, don't you think? On the part of Adam Silver, nothing.
Well, duh. It makes zero sense. Like, you were right. The film is called Hebrews to Negroes, and it's about Jewish slave ships. I didn't even know that was a thing. I don't even know how to understand that.
It's ugliness, right? I mean, it's just
it's
nothing that you want to be recommending if you're representing various corporate sponsorships in the NBA. I would think. I mean, there hasn't been. I haven't seen any reaction from companies, regarding that. They no longer want to be affiliated with the Brooklyn Nets. And the Nets, I mean, how much of a mess could you possibly be? The Brooklyn Nets, aren't they asking for trouble here with Ime Udoka?
Oh my God!
He may be the second coming of Red Auerbach, but I would think no organization in this age of sensitivity about harassment of women, especially, would as the story continues to exacerbate the problem there. The Celtics weren't going to do what they did with Ime Udoka unless this was a little bit more serious than he was just having an affair with the secretary. Right? This had to involve something deeper than that, because he just took them to the NBA title, the threshold of winning a championship, where they run into a red-hot Golden State team that was really coming together and almost prevailed in that series. No, that was a first-year head coach, right? And Ime Udoka, schooled by the great Greg Popovich. I mean, this guy had the breeding to be a tremendous NBA coach and had demonstrated an ability to rally a team that was struggling, right? Remember all the debates about the Celtics last year, Lubie? Whether Tatum and Jaylen Brown could play together and they might have to trade Jaylen Brown. And supposedly, I don't know, did they consider it? They were considering trading Brown for Kevin Durant.
I mean, it's Durant, so they definitely consider it, but as you can see, they didn't do it. And it seems smarter and smarter by the day. Durant just sort of lost his mind. Like, I don't know what to do with Durant. Like, he was never Irving. He wasn't the head case at that level, but he's not a head case.
It's a strange cat, you would have to say. I mean, he's one of those tortured geniuses at what he does.
He gets on the Twitter.
Seems that way.
People's like, what the hell do you care about?
Yeah.
Scotty Two-Tone from Tucson. Like, why do you care about that guy? Like, who cares? His avatar is like a wrestling figure from 1981. Like, why do you care about that?
Meshuggah, yes. And that's what you call that. By the way, is Ric Flair really, a user of Car Shield? Did you see this latest Car Shield thing?
Maybe.
Two ads really get to me lately. Danny DeVito sitting there like some pervert at a Jersey Mike sub shop. I don't know if I see that guy in there. As much as I love DeVito and his whole career, I think it's come to a crashing halt here now with his portrayal of some nutbag that is drooling over a cheesesteak sandwich.
I don't.
At Jersey Mike's. I mean, I don't know that Jersey Mike's is exactly Geno's or Pat's or one of these places.
Exactly. But it's not Jersey Mike's to listen to the sizzle. I still don't understand the positive of that.
Bringing a little pair of theater binoculars into the place and having this tuxedo. Get out of here, man. When do you see that, man? When do you see a guy in a tuxedo at Arby's? Never.
Exactly.
It's not happening. And then the other one is this round table barbershop meeting that's taking place there. Is it Ice-T or Ice Cube, the guy that who's the guy that does the 3-man basketball thing? Because this is the other guy.
Ice Cube does the big three. Ice Cube.
Okay, so this is Ice-T then.
Yeah.
Is on the Car Shield commercial. I mean, replacing a bloated Chris Berman. And now they have Allen Iverson, who I can't imagine. I don't know. Really, are things that bad? Didn't he make like a couple of $100 million?
But he's Ivo. Like, he didn't really, he wasn't very wise with his money from what we
Oh,
knew.
okay. So he might be, using the services of CarShield, which is this insurance policy where if you need repairs to your car, I'm sure they pay off at 100% and are totally legit. I don't know, but that there are no problems and no deductibles, and you never get into a beef about. Well, no, I needed a new transmission. And they have the guy that was one of the supposed testimonial guys from one of the earlier commercials that says, "I needed a new engine." Who does that? And you immediately get the impression that they don't either. I mean,
I was gonna say they don't.
Berman is sitting at a sports desk when he was doing this spot. He's not even in this spot, which is amazing. So he must have fallen out of favor there. His Q rating must have fallen into the toilet or something. But and Ric Flair is in this. Ric Flair is going, woo! And they pay this guy, I don't know how much money. I mean, they have to be hosing these customers pretty badly to support this cast of characters that they have as endorsers. The Ice-T guy, too, has like a garage full of Bentleys and Rolls Royces that I don't even know if they've ever been driven, and he's worried about insuring their transmission, the brake fluid. I don't know, man. It's the strangest ad, I think, of any. The panel barbershop discussion of the CarShield testimonials that they have going. And the collection of guys, Ric Flair, Allen Iverson, and Ice-T, what do they have in common? I'm going to ask Brandon Lang that on our podcast. All right. Excellent, Louie. We're going to make our exit here. We had a lot of fun being with you today. Certainly was a hoot doing the Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. Thanks to Dave Gurggles Gergely for that. We do have a Degenerate Friday coming up tomorrow, and with the Breeders' Cup, Kate and Brado, right?
She will be joining us at 7:10 because I wanted some Bradar, and Mayo never referenced that she'd be joining the lunchbox, so I wanted to make sure on one of our assets here on South Florida Live, we had a little Kate and Bradar heading into the Breeders' Cup.
Well, it'd be good, too, because I'm trying to formulate some opinions, and so far I've looked at nothing. And we'll see what happens. I haven't seen much information on it, and I didn't really follow that whole category of 2-year-olds. So, of course, I'll plunge my brains out tomorrow with authority. That'll be great. That's going to be a lot of fun, and we'll have a full-fledged Degenerate Friday. Would you lay 14 with the undefeated Eagles tonight against the Texans, Lubie?
Yes,
lay 14.
Yep.
Is that game also in Houston? I mean, you would have to think.
Ever play someone with a winning record? Like, we're into week 8, right? This is
the Eagles seem like they play a shit team every week.
No? Played anyone with a win, not even good, because it's starting to ask me, what is a good team? I don't know. Winning record. We're into their 8th game, right? By now, you play teams with winning records, right? No, with a winning record.
The Bills look like a really good team, even though they suffered that loss to the Dolphins. They pounded the Dolphins in that game.
I'm just saying, like, winning record.
In Houston, on the road, 14.
Yeah, they're 1-7 in Houston. Like they're 1-6.
Speaking of 1-7, the Miami Hurricanes, did you know this, Lubie, are 1-7 against the spread?
Oh my God! And they played it
this
horrible.
year.
Their schedule sucks. That's the problem with the Canes. It's not that they are struggling this year. Fine, it's year 1. They gave them an easy schedule. Like, they play 3 teams that are borderline FBS. Like,
you're not going to like this.
That's borderline FBS.
You're not going to like any of this. Only one guy picks Florida State out of 9. No, it's not 9 here.
Have they watched any of them games? Have they watched
7 handicappers? One guy.
Like, I understand Florida State's record's 5-3, and they saw them lose 3 in a row. Do they understand who they were against? Like, that's why I was tough on Ken last week. Like, and FSU almost didn't cover. I'm not going to lie. Like, if they had allowed them to kick the extra point, it would have been a push. But FSU was leaning toward covering the entire game. Like, Ken made it seem like FSU had no shot at covering, and it was going to be a 1-score game. And I'm like, their 3 losses are to 3 ranked teams that are still ranked. They have a win over a top 10 team right now. And every game that they lost, they had a shot to win in the last 5 minutes of the 4th quarter. I'm like, the look, it's a rivalry. It's at UM's home. Fine.
They've been unimpressive.
But they've been horrible. Like, me as a fan, I won't get cocky. But if you've watched both teams, FSU's top 5, I think, in rushing, top 30 in defense. Miami's horrible on both ends of the field. Like,
this is offending you, the fact that all of these people like to take.
Yeah, I just don't get it. Like, from a hand, don't touch it then. If you don't trust FSU, fine. Don't say Miami.
You get emotional about the handicapping aspect of this. All right, it's plus 7.5. That's one thing to consider.
Yes.
So they're not saying Florida State's going to win the game, but they're saying it might be close. Now here's the logic of one of the guys, your man Howie Kasoy, who
He's horrendous.
Didn't we have him on the show a couple of times way back before he was a big shot?
Yeah, when he was
All right. He says the Hurricanes have the nation's worst record, 1-7 against the spread this season.
Yes.
Misguided preseason predictions are partly to blame. But now the perception of the team has swung too far in the opposite direction. So, in other words, he doesn't think, like everybody else, that they just flat out suck.
He couldn't score a touchdown against a bad team.
Take the points. All right, here's what he says. Take the points in the historically tight series decided by 5 points or fewer in 6 of the past 8 years. So these guys always play each other tough, a rivalry game. Could you buy that theory and go ahead and take 7 and a hook? You could still win the game by a touchdown with Florida State. Significant win. No? On the road against Miami?
But it's not on the road. You even said it. This is the first time they've sold out all year. You know why they sold out? It ain't because of Canes fans.
They're in Orlando or something? No,
it's in Miami.
Oh, okay.
FSU's second home. Like, they haven't sold out the entire year. They magically sell out. It's not because of Canes.
Oh, no, this is all FSU.
Yeah,
all
like,
FSU.
Home game for them. Like,
FSU fans are loyal, and they seem to be very respectable. I always enjoyed the whole thing between the Canes and FSU because the FSU people were very reasonable to deal with, even though it was a bit bitter. It wasn't bitter, but it was a big time rivalry. All right, we have to run. So you're saying go ahead and lay the points for Florida State, 7 on hook, not too much, and go ahead and lay the points with Philadelphia tonight because the Texans are horrible. All right, so those are 2 losers that you can probably put a ring around. We're going to have Brandon Lang on our podcast. That's Believe, BLEAV Network, and it pops up about 11 o'clock and stays there for quite some time. So he'll have all of his picks. And we're going to come back tomorrow, of course, with our Degenerate Friday show and Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, 12 o'clock today with Mike Mayo right here on South Florida Live. So we'll join you for that as well. As we leave you on that, thanks for tuning in, everybody. Thanks for playing the game today, Hialeah Park Trivia Challenge. It is now that... Got to get that in. It's 8:57.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.